Not too many folks. Okay, good morning. This is Judge Alyssa Perez presiding over the 210th District Court criminal docket for February 8th, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters via YouTube for public viewing. I'll also mention to everyone, I am also working remotely, as is court staff today. I think everybody is. And so that usually means I have issues with my internet. So just bear with me. Hopefully we're set up to get going. So let's go ahead and get started. Mr. Pantoja, if you'll call our first case, please.
Yes, Judge. Becerra on page 1.
Okay.
It's cause number 2019-0D02380, State of Texas versus Mario Becerra. Announcement of counsel, please.
Robert King for the state of Texas.
And Joseph Vasquez representing Mr. Becerra.
Okay, and this is one that we had discussed recently, Mr. Vasquez. We were set for a motion to suppress today, but I understand notice there may have been some confusion there with actual notice. And I also thought we were waiting a little bit because you had some maybe information that you were awaiting receipt of.
Yes, Judge, we've kind of gone a long way on this case. I had got to see my client and discussed with him the motion to suppress, and the recommendation at the time, as I understood it, was 4 years TDC. And I talked to him about the issue on the motion to suppress, and that there was no guarantee it would be granted, although I thought it was a strong argument. He opted to waive the motion to suppress and accept the 4-year recommendation. Yesterday, though, I got a call from Mr. Flores and Ms. King, and was informed that the recommendation is now 7 years. As I have a hearing at 10 o'clock, and I'm going to go to the annex. I have plea papers, and I'm going to talk to him about that and see whether he still wants to plea or if he wants to go forward with the suppression. And I will notify everybody this afternoon.
Okay, that sounds great. What we do have is a final hearing or something, final judges or something on March 10th. So if you want to, I won't hold you to a waiver. If it comes, if the need arises to then schedule the motion to suppress, just let us know. I would like to do it before that March 10th setting, and it will probably be, I know you mentioned remote. I think that'll be maybe a little bit more difficult to schedule with your client in custody. So I would probably prefer that we do it in person, because I think it's probably easier for me to schedule or request your client, say, on a Monday morning or Monday afternoon, and have the motion that way, because otherwise we need to do a lot of maneuvering to get him in via video. And I just don't think it's the best way to handle a motion to suppress with you being kind of with your client. So we'll try to do it that way, but we'll look to the next setting. Just let us know as soon as you can, okay?
I will. I am going right now, so I will have an answer this afternoon, and I'll let everybody know.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Nothing else, y'all are excused. Oh,
thank you.
Judge Fernando Perea.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to turn.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Cause number 2019-0D04185, State of Texas versus Fernando Perea. Announcement of counsel, please.
Robert King for the state of Texas.
Call the code for Fernando Perea. Ready.
Okay, I believe this was an add-on. What is it set for? Is it a final hearing plea deadline?
Yeah.
Okay, where are we on this one, Ms. King? What's the rec?
Judge, the rec is 10 deferred, but I believe this is going to go to trial.
Mr. Dakotes?
Yes, Judge, that's where we are.
Okay, well, that would mean we are scheduled for trial this week, which is not happening. We have our back. Are those already scheduled, Sandy? The March?
Yes, ma'am.
I think you did, Judge, yeah.
Okay, so then we'll look at the backup dates.
Sure.
Is there anything outstanding that requires a hearing?
Not right now, Judge, no.
Okay.
Nothing from the state.
Alrighty, then we'll have our trial date. I believe for those 2 dates, we have 2 panels each day on the 17th and the 18th. So hopefully we'll be good to go, but we'll check in with you before then. Alrighty,
good.
Nothing further. You're excused.
Thank
And
you.
give me a quick second.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Mr. Hernandez, do you still have your client on the line?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'll bring you up next.
Ma'am, we're gonna be up next, okay? So stay in line.
And my apologies. Working from home means all kinds of little technical things. I need like a director or producer or something over here to handle the lights. All right. So let's go to our next case, Chewy.
Yes, Judge. Hey, Brown on page 1.
Hey, go ahead.
Cause number 2020-0D01208. Cause number 2020-0D02497. State of Texas versus Zulena Elaine Brown. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Edward Hernandez on behalf of Zuelena Elaine Brown, ready to proceed, Your Honor?
And did I hear in the background, is Miss Brown with you, Mr. Hernandez?
No, Your Honor, she's over the phone. She's at San Vicente Clinic outside of the OC, or at the OC. My client was held on, or was taken in to be held on an EDO at the end of December. I'd lost contact with her from that point. I heard yesterday that one of the Project Amistad found her housing and had rehoused her at 1231 McGoffin, apartment number 9. And apparently somebody got a hold of her. Is the judge still there?
I'm here.
Okay, sorry, you went off the screen. So they rehoused her on McGoffin, and she's calling from the San Vicente Clinic now. So somebody was able to get a hold of her and have her call in. I apologize, she didn't report in, Judge. I didn't know where she was. I wasn't sure if she was still on a commitment or not. But she is out now. This is an insanity defense. My client is going to have these problems, Your Honor. So I apologize. I asked the court not to issue a warrant. It wasn't intentional. We weren't intending for her to get committed or rehoused in the middle of this case. Your Honor, but we anticipate proceeding with the insanity defense or maybe talking to the state and working something out. But clearly my client has severe mental health issues. I forgot to announce for myself, Edward Hernandez, on behalf of Zuelena Elaine Brown, with the mental health unit of the Public Defender's Office.
Miss King, let me ask you, we're here on one of these cases, final hearing plea deadline. It looks like the other one is a final judges conference. Have we made, where are we in terms of a rec?
Your Honor, it's going to be 3 TDC and dismiss the harassment charge.
Okay. So my problem is, Mr. Hernandez, is we lose track of her, and I am fully aware and appreciate the mental health, the challenges that the mental health issues are presenting to have her, I guess, compliant. But it doesn't sound to me like she's getting the mental health treatment. If we're having EDOs, I don't remember exactly when we let her out. I want to say, maybe it was in November. I mean, it would seem to me it was shortly thereafter that we lost her.
Your Honor, I think the incident that she was picked up on in the end of December was she reported being assaulted and they thought she'd self-inflicted harm. I mean, she's saying she did not self-inflict harm, but because of the history, that's why she was held. She wasn't intentionally trying to violate any rules or anything, but that's what led to her being held, Your Honor. But I would also add, Your Honor, just for the state's benefit, I mean, this is an insanity defense. We're not denying what happened, but the allegation is just that at the time she was offered medication, she reaches into a car and grabs a cell phone, and they call that a robbery. I mean, she was delusional. It was at a McDonald's. I'm sure it's on video, but it wasn't some kind of violent altercation that would, I believe, justify a 3 TDC rec for someone who, when they're off their medication, becomes hallucinatory or delusional, Your Honor. She did not intentionally assault anybody. And I think even the harassment charge should be on video and show that there really wasn't harassment. So just for the state's benefit, I mean, this isn't insanity defense. We're not denying the facts, although we don't believe they're as egregious as they sound. My client wasn't holding a weapon. She just reached into a car that was the same color as her mother's. She was off her medication. She was supposed to meet her mother. What's that? Right. She was supposed to meet her mother for her birthday, Your Honor. She got off a bus. We're just pleading with the state. This is not what most people would think of as a robbery. It's just somebody who's mentally ill and hallucinating and delusional at the time. And so we'll discuss it with the state, Your Honor. But I think we'll be headed for trial unless we can get a more rational.
And that's completely fine. I'm sure, at trial or whatever you need to do before then, you will advocate for your client. My concern is, how do we keep her compliant and keep track of her until we get to trial?
Your Honor, well, she is currently, as I said, we know the exact address where she's staying. She has been rehoused by Project Amistad. I believe, it is my understanding, ma'am, are you getting your medication through EHN?
Miss Brown, are you there?
Miss Brown, who are you getting your medication through? Who's Mr. Medina? Okay, so she's getting it from Dr. Medina at San Vicente, Your Honor, which is where she's at right now, by the way. They're the ones that put her in touch with us.
And that's great. What I need to know is what PR has her not even going to orientation. I think I was very clear. I mean, I don't know what you or your office can do, Mr. Hernandez, to assure that, for example, well, first of all, she go to orientation, she report to PR as instructed. I mean, we're talking about a period of maybe 2 months. I mean, I asked for a violation notice yesterday based on the report that I received, which basically she did nothing since I put her on PR bond, since I let her out. And I would have thought that her transitioning from where she was last time, she, at the very least on the onset, should have maintained or established, whatever treatment, meds, things of that nature. But it doesn't seem to have happened. So what are we going to do? Just keep our fingers crossed that, she's still around for the next setting and jury trial? I mean, I don't, that's not good enough.
Yeah, and I would add, I don't believe she's missed the setting, but in response, Your Honor, I would respond to the following. The thing is, she got picked up, and I know the court said she's been out 2 months, but she got picked up in December for this incident.
I'm really right now less concerned about the EDO situation, other than the fact that it is probably indicating that she is certainly not stabilized, right? If we're getting an EDO, I'm not even really that concerned about the underlying circumstances as I am. It's an indicator to me that she is not on any kind of treatment that keeps her close to stable.
Your Honor, can we follow up with maybe a hearing in 1 week while we put in a plan to monitor her and ensure that
that's exactly
that
what I
medication,
want.
that she's where she's staying. I'll get our social workers to set up some kind of monitoring plan so that we're monitoring her.
I'm going to give you 1 week to get her squared away, which means whatever your plan is, I would urge you to get her squared away with PR before 1 week from today.
Yes,
because I want her to be established with PR. And by then, I will hold off on the VN for now, but I won't go beyond 1 week. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And so we have our jury trial set. That is a date. I know we may have to revisit in terms of a potential reschedule just based on jury panel availability, but we'll look at that then. My biggest concern, I know the extent, I guess, or at least the result of what the mental health issues, present in terms of her reporting, her ability to comply, things of that nature. But she, and I didn't have any notice until this setting that she was wholly not compliant. You know, I know your contacts to the court were you know, forthcoming in terms of not being able to locate her, but it appears that from day one we never had a good locate on her. That's very concerning. I mean, ultimately, you know, your client's well-being is also the issue here, right? Who knows what can happen to her when she is not stabilized, either in terms of meds, mental health treatment, housing, things of that nature. So we've gone, you know, probably 3-4 months like that. That's not good. Okay, so we'll see
Yes,
you
Your
next.
Honor.
Thank you very much.
Am I excused, Your Honor?
You are. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Counsel, thank you. Okay, don't hang up now.
Who's next, Shui?
Okay, Judge Boteo, page 1.
Okay. Go ahead.
Cause number 2019-0D06301, State of Texas versus Perla Crystal Boteo. Announcement of council, please.
Samantha Raga on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
Leonard Morales on behalf of Ms. Boteo, Judge.
Okay, and so we are here, final hearing plea deadline. Ms. Rago, what's the rec?
Yes, Your Honor. It's 10 AP, Your Honor.
Okay, well, this name is super familiar. Mr. Morales, do we have a warrant out on this one or something?
Judge, there is a warrant active. The issue is that she had another offense that she picked up in New Mexico, and she's on bond in New Mexico, as far as I know. I had her check in with Chewy. It was a little late. It was on Tuesday, but she did. I believe she did check in. So I do have contact with her. We're just trying to resolve the issues in New Mexico, and then I can certainly surrender her here, and we can handle this case. I'm not dissatisfied with the rec now. I've been kind of holding out for probation anyway, and I understand why it can't be deferred now. But that's what we need to do, Judge.
Okay, so let's just reset this for the July 29th trial setting. And we'll see if anything clears up between.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll get it resolved well before then, Judge.
Okay, then we'll look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, very good.
Anything else on this one? No?
Not on this one, Judge. I think I thought I had another case with you this morning, though, on Cigales.
Oh, okay. Alrighty,
But
thank you.
that
Ms.
I
Rocco.
might be mistaken on
Thank
that.
you.
Where should we
Maybe
begin?
excused, Your Honor.
You may.
You don't, Mr. Morales. This is set for Thursday.
Oh, Thursday? Okay. No problem. No problem,
Thank you,
Chief. Sorry.
Mr.
I
Morales. Take care.
just had my days mixed up. Thank you, Judge.
Take care. Who's next, Tree?
Okay, Judge, top of page 2, Flores.
Okay.
Clause number 2020-0D00711, State of Texas versus Adrian Flores. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
And Rafael Morales on behalf of Mr. Flores, Judge.
Again, final hearing plea deadline. Client's not in custody. What's the rec, Mrs. King?
Judge is going to be 5 years deferred and forfeiture of weapon.
Okay. Mr. Morales?
And Judge, as I spoke to my client this morning about an hour ago, and Judge, I think we're going to try this one. Be a short trial, Judge.
Okay.
Very
So
short.
anything outstanding that requires a hearing?
Nothing like that, Judge. I will continue to talk with Ms. King. She and I have spoken before, and she is very reasonable, and we'll see if we can't get something worked out. But at this point, no.
Okay, so we'll go to that July 29th date again. Maybe we'll have a different protocol by then for juries and stuff. So let's keep our fingers crossed. We'll see you in July. We'll have interim settings. Thank you, Mr. Morales.
Thank you very much, Judge. Thank you. Judge, I'm just going to stick around for my 10 o'clock. Is it the same Zoom hearing? I'll just stick around.
Okay. Chewy, who's next?
Okay, Judge, Mark Flores, page 2.
Okay, go ahead.
Cause number 2019-0D05383, State of Texas versus Mark Flores. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Alyssa on behalf of Mark Flores, ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Okay, again, final hearing plea deadline. What's the rec, Ms. King?
Judge is going to be 10 deferred with the registration.
Okay, Mr. Lozano?
We're going to be trying this case, Your Honor.
Okay, anything that needs a hearing?
I don't anticipate any further hearings other than the trial, Your Honor.
Okay, so then we're gonna go to that July 29th date as well. If we have anything in the interim requires a hearing, let us know.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, take care. Who's next, Tree?
Mr. Lozano, if you just stand by, you have 2 other ones, okay? I'll get to you in just a minute, sir. Franco, page 2 as well, Judge. It's cause number 2019-0D04854, State of Texas versus Elizabeth Ann Franco. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Brent Stevens for Miss Franco.
Again, final hearing plea deadline, Ms. King, what is the rec?
Judge, it's going to be 4 AP and the restitution amount of 9,850.
Okay. Mr. Stevens?
I think, isn't this the case?
Yes, I take that back, Judge. Sorry, I apologize. I did email, I received an email from Mr. Stevens and I did reply to him. I believe the insurance paid out the amount, so I'm willing to do time serve.
Oh.
So, Judge, my client has stayed in very good contact with me through this whole process. Anytime I need to talk to her, I just call her and she always answers. And the last time I talked to her was a couple of weeks ago, and she was at La Posada homeless shelter for women.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, though, I've lost contact with her. I've tried every point of contact I have, so I don't have contact with her right now. And PR told me the exact same story. They would talk to her at La Posada also, and then lost contact with her. So I'm trying to find her. I do not know what's going on. So I'm going to keep trying to find her. I'm asking my investigator to help me locate her.
So, I did not receive the report I received from PR says your client is in full compliance.
He has been up until just like right before this court.
Okay.
And she didn't report on Monday.
We're going to reset just the final hearing plea deadline for 30 days. Let's see if we can locate her. Obviously, maybe she's going through some stuff. I won't immediately reset the trial, but we'll see where we are in 30 days. I'll give you that much, Mr. Stevens, and see if you find her quickly and find out that this is going to be a plea, move forward on it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Who's next, Chuy?
Hey, Judge, Michael Navarro. From Wednesdays. It's cause number 2019-0D02915, State of Texas versus Michael Navarro. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Danny Razo covering on behalf of Monique Velarde, honor for Mr. Navarro.
Okay, what are we set for today, Chuy? I didn't have this one on my docket.
Judge, it's one of the ones that was set for trial. And so it's a final hearing plea deadline.
Okay. Ms. King, what is the rec?
Judge, what, Chuy, I apologize. What page? I didn't.
It's an add-on, Ms. King.
Yeah. So maybe we can get that cause number again, please.
What
Yes,
was it?
ma'am. It's cause number 2019-02915.
Is this one that has always been a trial, Mr. Razo?
Yes, Your Honor. And Ms. Velarde said that she would like to leave it on trial track.
Your Honor, I mean, we have a rec of 10 deferred, but I guess trial.
So I think I recall this one. Let's go ahead and just, is there anything that requires a hearing, Mr. Razo?
Nothing that I know of, Your Honor.
Okay, I want to do two things. I want to put the 17th and 18th, March 17th and 18th, if this one's ready to go, and the backup of the April dates. The dates are escaping me. I want to say it's the 4th and 5th, but I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong on that. Let me see. Can someone tell me what the April trial dates are?
Let me look them up, Judge. It's the 7th and the 8th.
7th and the 8th. Okay. Mr. Raza, you can let Ms. Velarde know those are basically just to save a spot. I don't know that we'll get to her. I don't know that, but in the event we have space for a trial, I think this one has been outstanding for quite some time. So we'll see where we are. If not, we're looking at the end of July.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did I already ask this? Is there anything that requires a hearing, Mr. Razo?
Nothing that Ms. Velarde let me know, Your Honor. So I don't believe so.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll have another final hearing plea deadline in March to see where we are. All right, thank you very much.
May I be excused?
You may. Who's
Thank
next,
you.
Chief?
Okay, Judge, there's another final hearing plea deadline add-on.
Who was that?
Saldivar,
Oh, okay.
it's cause number 2019-0D06183, State of Texas versus Rosbel Acuña Saldivar. Announcement to council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Good morning, Your Honor. Derek White on behalf of Mr. Salvador. We're respectfully ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Good morning. We're scheduled for a final hearing plea deadline. Ms. King, what is the rec?
Your Honor, it's going to be 7 deferred, or it seems like we're going to go to trial on this one.
Mr. Wyatt?
Judge, we were so close to working this out. We're having negotiations and my client's a resident and we sent him to a lawyer and we worked all this out. What exactly could he take? And talked to Miss King. This has been going on for like 2 to 3 weeks. And I guess she went to her superior and I guess her superior said, no way.
Okay. So we don't have a deal. Let me ask,
No.
okay, so client's not in custody, right? No, or yes?
No, ma'am.
No, okay. So clearly we're not going to trial this week. I think I would do the same thing. If there's nothing outstanding and we're really just looking at going to trial, then I'd say the March and April as a backup. That's March 17th and 18th, Mr. Wyatt. So you know we have 2 panels each day in the morning to the afternoon. Basically, we'll start on a Thursday.
Sorry, Judge, you were breaking up there. I couldn't hear what you were saying.
So we have 4 panels reserved for each of those March and April trial settings. 57 in the morning, 57 in the afternoon for 2 days. We start on a Thursday and basically go as far as we can with all the panels that we have and the people that we have. So we'll just put those and see if we get to you all. Okay.
Okay. So what day, Your Honor, are you going to set it?
It's
Or do you-
March 17th and 18th.
17th and 18th. Okay.
And then the backup was April, oh shoot, I lost. my
7 and
note.
8, Your Honor.
April 7th and 8th. So that'll be
Yes,
your
ma'am.
backup. Okie doke. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Take care. Who's next, Trudy?
Judge, have a nice day and God bless.
Just a minute, Mr. Wyatt. Your office has 2 other, Campa and Roman. Are you going to handle those or is Mr.?
No, I was just handling this one.
Okay.
But thanks, bro. I appreciate the FYI. I'll let my partners know.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, bye guys. Sandra,
Bye.
haven't
Bye.
seen you in a while. Stay healthy.
You also, sir. Good to see you.
Bye bye.
Okay, Trudy, who's next?
Okay, Judge. I've got Mr. Montes and Mr. Lozano, Judge, on 2 code amendments. I don't know if you want to handle those 2 together.
Sure.
Okay, this is cause number 2021-0D00202, State of Texas versus Jagger Walking Eagle, and cause number 2021-0D00203, State of Texas versus Precious Walking Eagle. Announcement to council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Sam Montes for Mr. Walking Eagle.
And Cesar Lozano for Precious Walking Eagle. Ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Okay, so I only see Mr. Lozano's client on the docket for a status conference. I'm assuming Mr. Montes's client is also set for a status.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so where are we on this one?
Your Honor, I believe these are going to go to trial. There has been some an attempt to negotiate in the past, but I think we're just going to set this for trial.
Okay, well, we have our trial setting. What's outstanding, gentlemen?
Your Honor, there's extensive discovery. We're still going through it. And that's the latest that we're working on.
Okay, well, you're set for trial in April. I believe it's April 29th. That's one again that I feel fairly certain we're not going to have a panel for, so you can anticipate a reset of maybe a few weeks. I think we have a May jury panel set. But you know, just if we know we're going to trial, then just be ready.
We'll be talking to Ms. King also. The rec is rather high, 25.
Okay. All right, folks. Well, thank you very much. Who's next, Tree?
Okay, Judge, top of page 4, Rubalcaba.
Go ahead.
Cause number 2018-003021, State of Texas versus Javier Adrian Rubalcaba. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Is Mr. Lozano on this one, or is that?
Cesar Lozano, we have Mr. Rubalcaba. Sorry, Your Honor.
Your Honor, really quickly, this is the one that we have the complaining witness that would like to appear to speak to you about some recent violations.
Okay. Let me get, you can go ahead, and if she's wanting or he is wanting to come in, feel free to bring him in from the waiting room. Carla, just because I'm having so many internet issues, I know you sent me case summaries. Would you give me the report on Mr. Rubalcaba?
Your Honor, good morning.
Good morning.
We are following up, Judge, from a few weeks, from January 18th. We were pending Mr. Rubalcaba we are pending an MTR to be filed, Judge. He had stopped reporting back in November 8th, 2021. He failed to report December 2021. There were issues with him. He had been at BHRTC, Judge, and then he completed BHRTC. He followed up with placement at MHI caseload. During MHI caseload is when the issue started with reporting, with testing positive again and stuff like that. We were here January 18th. We were trying to see what we wanted to do as far as a recommendation. I know the state is pending a violation notice. I believe Ms. King received it sometime this week. But we last discussed, Judge, possible BHRTC placement again. As the probation officer's recommendation, that's what she had recommended. But he had completed BHRTC back in he had been modified back in 2020. So we were pending that today, Judge.
Okay, so we were possibly looking at modifying him to BHRTC, even though he had done that before and it had some treatment. And I don't want to get this confused. From the last hearing, was it a situation where I was at a time wreck and then we, probably with some argument from defense counsel, revisited?
Last hearing, Mr. Carmona was present, Judge, and he was to talk to his client to see where they stood and to the state as well. The issues that arise back before, the bench warrant and all that was called, Judge, was because he had been following up with EHN. However, there were conversations where he continues to drink alcohol. He wasn't so much complying with treatment after that. It wasn't helping him. He continued with alcohol use.
Okay.
In Your Honor, the state did file the MTR yesterday. We are just pending on the district clerk to accept the filing.
Okay. And okay, so we have someone here, Ms. King, you mentioned.
Her name is Ms. Marquez. She is the complaining witness or the victim in this charge, and she wanted to talk to you, Judge, and let you know what other violations, and other encounters that she has had with the defendant. So,
is this mom?
No, this is I guess an ex-girlfriend, or they had a relationship together.
Okay. Ma'am, can you hear me? This is Judge Perez. Ms. Marquez, you're muted.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Ms. Marquez. I understand you've been speaking with Ms. King and had some concerns about Mr. Rubalcaba's performance on community supervision. Did you want to address the court regarding that?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Okay. Me and Mr. Rubalcaba were together for 6 years. We were engaged, being married. I helped Mr. Rubalcaba with mental health. I helped him get a job. He continued drinking. When he drinks, he gets belligerent. He started threatening me. The relationship became toxic. I mean, I really tried to work with him, and I was going to mental health, and I worked myself, and it just got worse. And, he was threatening me for a couple of weeks and I wanted it over. I was tired. He had sent homeless people after me. I did prosecute, like you're supposed to with the courts for a year. I went into hiding because he was sending homeless people after me. Since then, I have no contact with him, his family, anything. I took all his personal belongings to his mother's home. I no longer talk to any of those people that were once I knew and he knew. I have no association with any of them. He has harassed me with homeless people in conversation. I'm just, in town shopping and they come up to me and we know them in common from the past when I was at the homeless shelter, okay, years ago. I have been on my own and it's been ongoing constantly for 4 years. And I'm tired. I really am. I'm not trying to harass him or fight him. I never talked to him. I don't. I followed the court order and I got the original judge order from the trial of everything that she had ordered in the case at the end of the trial, and we won the case. But it's still ongoing, Your Honor, and I'm tired. I mean, he harassed me so many times with homeless people, whoever he hangs with, they come looking for him and give him information, and they come back and tell me it. And then I don't really know these people. And then in conversation, I'm simply going to the store, buy a pack of cigarettes or so because I don't drink or do drugs. And they're telling me things about him. Oh, Shorty said this. And I'm just like, oh my God, because that's what I call him. That's his nickname, Shorty in the Hood. And I'm just done. It's been 4 years ongoing and I'm really tired. I'm just
have you, Ms. Marquez, have you reported any incidents or any of these confrontations to law enforcement?
Yes, I am, ma'am. But they said because it's not him, according to the court order of lifetime protection, it's not him personally. That basically they said their hands are tied. Even I told them the homeless people, where they're at, et cetera, et cetera. And the incidents that happened, they told me because it's not him personally, according to the court order of protection, basically they told me their hands were tied. But I still continue reporting on this.
I know you mentioned the last 4 years, but how recent have you had this experience? Like, when was the last time?
It was about a week and a half prior. It was something it was about 2 weeks ago, before I got arrested, before I even found out. I went to the East Side Walmart because my daughter had sent me a MoneyGram. A person that we know, I don't know his real name. I know his name is Cholo. He knows me and he knows him. Okay. He started talking about him and how he missed me, he loved me, and blah, blah, blah. I said, you need to stop and leave me alone. I said, I'm done. You need to stop. Okay. Because at one time I was at the OC, that's how I met him. And this was a couple weeks ago at Walmart on the East Side. I went to pick up the MoneyGram my daughter sent me. And he got off the bus. I mean, I just take charge of my own business, went about my everyday business, don't bother people. And he told me this. I said, you really need to stop. You need to tell him to get lost. I'm tired already. And so anyways, he kind of tried to give me a hug. I said, get away from me because I backed up. And
when you're referring to him, you're referring to Mr. Rubalcaba?
Yes, it's right before I found he got arrested. I was on the East Side Walmart. I took the transit there. And the person, all I know is his name is Cholo. That's his street name. I don't know his real name. But me and Javier and Mr. Rubalcaba both knew Cholo when we were together as a couple. Okay. And this happened before I found out that Mr. Javier Rubalcaba had been arrested. Okay. And so, anyways, I told him, you need to stop and you tell him, leave me alone. I don't want nothing to do with you. Okay. I don't fight you, but I know how to be. When I went to this, it was very stressful. I've never been exposed to kind of darkness. I have never been in an abusive relationship like this. I went to prostitution. There's a lot of times I wanted to give up and I was tired. It was really hard. I went to therapy. I went to counseling. I had PTSD. I take medication. I still take medication because of the stress of it. I don't talk to a lot of people. I mean, I'm not hateful. I mean, I do help people. I have friends. But, every time I turn around, somebody he knows, he's sitting after me for info or to give me a message. I'm tired of him. The man is not going to obey the law. I know this, ma'am. I was with him for 6 years. He doesn't listen. It's been ongoing for a long time. I don't disobey the law. I don't disrespect people. I don't get involved in drinking or drugs. I did have that problem. I went got help because I was drinking and I got to experiment a little bit, but I knew I didn't belong there. So I went to therapy and counseling and got help and quit drinking because I know I didn't belong there. I was depressed and went to a lot of things for the situation. And I'm just done. I'm tired. Yeah, I'm 62 years old, ma'am. You know, I don't bother people. And I just returned from Austin because I went to my niece and I took a break. My youngest son is active in the Army. He knows about the situation. I explained to him. I talked to Helen, who works with the women whose abuser got felony probation, was what she got. I've done everything according to the court. I've called police, reported the incident, everything I can. I even tried to contact the probation officer, whoever that was that he had that time, and I could never get through to talk to his probation officer. Now, I don't go harassing him or do bad things to him, but he does it to me because he told me that I would never get rid of him ever. And he does me for 4 years after the trial. We won the case. Ma'am, it's old. I'm tired. You know,
So I'm Miss Marcus.
He's not gonna abide.
Hold on a second. Thank you for sharing that. I am still unclear. The incident that you're telling me right before he got arrested, was that directly with Mr. Rubalcaba or was it with someone, I guess, some third person?
Well, before that happened, it was 2 months prior. I saw Mr. Rubalcaba. I went to Family Dollar on Cotton. Okay, I went to buy some things I needed. I met a man. He was having a bad time. I bought him a couple things, and I gave them to him. He had a kitty, and here comes Mr. Rubalcaba with a kitty. He saw me and looked at me. I immediately left, okay, because I know Mr. Rubalcaba. I mean, had the most evil look. I wasn't expecting him, okay? I left him because I knew Mr. Rubalcaba. He had the most evil, hateful face on his face. I mean, because of what I had to do. And I'm talking, I know he hates me because I prosecuted and did the right thing, but he had the most evil face. I had made left because I got really bad feelings. And the guy, he like threw the guy's cat down, his kitty, on the ground, and the guy went and got the kitty actually. I made left because I didn't live on the side town. I just came to a Family Dollar that was close to me because I was getting some sale things at that store.
I understand. I understand. So my question was, I think you described a Walmart incident. Am I understanding that that was not directly with Mr. Rubalcaba, correct?
It was not directly Mr. Rubalcaba. It's a friend that we knew in common. We were both at the a friend of Mr. Rubalcaba that still drinks with him, still hangs with him, named Cholo. That's all I know. His name is Cholo. He's a Mexican guy, has a gold thing. And I told him, you know, you guys can just leave me alone and go away. And you tell Mr. Rubalcaba, go rot and leave me alone. I'm tired. Okay. And I go about my business. You know, it happened. He told me that Mr. Rubalcaba had sent him looking for me.
Okay.
And he's done it many times, and I'm just tired of it. You know, I called the cops, reported, but because they said that everybody has a right of freedom of movement, I guess you say, to come and go. If Mr. Rubalcaba, even though he's on felony probation, you know, I don't see what justice is being served for me as the victim of survived domestic violence. I continue to have to deal with these shenanigans of his. That's what I call it. You know, his intentional disrupting my life and being hateful to me. And I never talked to him.
I understand. Let me go ahead and ask some questions here. Ms. Pineda, what are the conditions with respect to contact with the complainant? Is it no offensive contact? And I'm understanding her to say that there is some lifetime protective order. Do you know of any of that?
Let me check really quick. I know it's no contact, but let me just make sure it doesn't say offensive contact or if it's just no contact.
And in the most recent violations, I guess we have an outstanding, very recent VN. Does it include any of the behavior that Ms. Marcus is describing?
It did not, Judge, no.
Thank you, Ms. King. Okay, Judge, let me check on the contact. It's no contact, Judge.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. Marquez, you're welcome to stay on if you'd like. I know you had wanted to address the court. That's one other thing I had. Ms. Buneda, do you have any documentation that probation has been in touch with Ms. Marquez?
I was reading I believe the only contact, it's been through victim services, Judge, but I'm not sure that they've actually gotten through.
I don't recall this being on any prior notice, but my memory is not great in terms of the issues that Ms. Marquez has been having. Is that
Judge? I don't see any of that. I can actually get more details from Ms. Guerra, the probation officer. But what I see is that from victim services, they were just simply trying to notify as a courtesy Ms. Marquez of the hearings, upcoming hearings, but it's been, they haven't been able to get through. It's been undeliverable.
okay? So it sounds like at the very least, there needs to be some inquiries there, because I guess ultimately Ms. Marquez reached out to the DA's office in somewhat of a last resort so she could approach the court. Ms. Marquez, is there anything else that you would like to let me know?
Yes, ma'am. And my phone number is out of state. Okay. I texted me that way because somebody had my phone when I was here in town. Okay.
So I'm gonna ask that you not share that right now, because we are on YouTube, but I know you were in contact with the district attorney's office, who has all the information with how to coordinate you with probation, which is the actual entity that assists the court to monitor. So we were, I guess, lucky that you did make contact and have a response from the DA's office. But generally, they're not in the best position always to be totally updated. Probation is actually the entity that does the supervision on behalf of the court. Does that make sense, Marcus? Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. I also have tried to contact the probation department by getting the information that when I called the courts to try to find his probation number, because it changed. The last one, I know they changed because they have caseloads. So I do understand. I've been trying to find the probation officer assigned to him, but to no success, honestly, ma'am. But I really have been trying to talk to the probation officer the proper way, to let the probation officer know that this was ongoing, the harassment, the craziness. He does have a drug problem with methamphetamine. I don't use, I don't hang out, I don't live in the streets. And another reason that we had the altercation we did is because he wanted me to buy methamphetamine. That was his choice of drug. That's why.
So hold on, Ms. Marquez. You say the altercation we did. Are you talking about the initial incident that is the case that he was found guilty, or what are we talking about?
Yes, ma'am. He did physically try to kill me and grab me behind and choke me. And we got into it like a couple of days before because he wanted me to buy meth, methamphetamine. And I told him no. And he was always threatening me, saying I'm going to beat your ass, that kind of thing. I hate to talk like that. I'm sorry.
So you're talking about the original case?
Yes, and it's still on when he's still using. I know this.
How do you know that?
Ma'am, I know his history and he told me about it. That's what he likes to do. Excuse me, I know some other people that have been friends of mine for years have told me about it. I tell them I don't want to know, and because I'm just like there and gone. I go have family there, I go see them, then I leave. Of course, I watch my back, but they told me about him, and other friends have told me that one that know me and know of him. And I said, I don't want to know. I just, please, if you see him, don't tell him any information. And please do not tell him where I'm at, that you see me or anything. And they told me that. And, ma'am, it's just old. I'm tired. I don't want nothing to do with him. It's been the worst experience of my life. I mean, I'm really glad I prosecuted. I learned a lot. I thank Your Honor and all those involved. And this is hard for me today. It really is, because I'm tired.
I understand.
I
understand. And I know, aside from the difficulties, of course, of having gone through the initial incident, obviously you've brought to the court's attention several other concerns. We are in the process, just so you know, of reviewing some of the circumstances and conditions regarding his probation. So again, I would just say to you now, going forward, the best thing is to get you on track with probation because they are actually the front line in terms of
Yes,
supervising.
ma'am, I do need that.
The other thing I would simply advise you is obviously you seem to have several interactions. Obviously, you've taken the initiative of going to law enforcement. That's the right thing to do.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
you have already now established communication also with the DA's office. So moving forward, I will leave it both to probation and the DA's office to coordinate with you if you have any further concerns. But just know that I hear you, and I will continue to be reviewing his probation.
Oh, ma'am, also too, if I may state this, as a victim of domestic violence, it was the hardest experience of my life. I'm really glad I did it. I didn't know a lot. I learned a lot. I mean, a lot. I really appreciate the county attorneys, everybody that helped me, the whole procedure. I do follow the law. I do mind my business. I don't involve myself in those kind of activities. Ma'am, as a survivor of domestic violence, and speaking up and being able to speak to you today, ma'am, I really appreciate it because I have a family member I lost to domestic violence, okay, recently. And surviving and losing one of my nieces to domestic violence, it really hurts. And I know, as speaking up for victims of domestic violence and me being a survivor, is that I learned that people like him never change. They'll mask, they'll hide, they'll do all kinds of crazy stuff, and they don't change. And I lost one of my nieces to it recently. So besides this and all that happened, ma'am, no disrespect to the court or you as your honor, but he will never comply. I know this man like the back of my hand. And I'm not trying to disrespect your decision, but ma'am, please, he needs a severe sentence because he will not comply. I mean, I have moved, hidden out, left the state, come back because I had other things to take care of because my son returned. And I let my son know I was coming to court. I do the proper things and contact and do what you're supposed to do as a victim and survivor to make sure I stay safe. I am also too in time because I have other things to do and I'm gonna be seeing my mental health doctor, my psychiatrist, because this has caused me a lot of stress. All those doors were closed and I thought, I was moving on, of course, and doing better. All those doors closed. I'm just having, it's just like everything blew open, all those doors. It's like reliving it from day one. And being a victim, survivor of domestic violence, and knowing all that's involved in it, it has angered me, has upset me. I mean, I'm not a violent person. I mean, anger, the point is, where does it end? Okay. And now that I'm going to be connected to probation, I don't fight with him. I don't go nowhere near he is. I don't hang with these people. I don't hang around, period. I just go about my business. But also, too, as a survivor of domestic violence, and it's like everything was like back to day one. I'm tired of him. And I'm not trying to be mean. He's harassed me to no end. I mean, I'm raised and I want to cooperate him, but of course I don't. That's how I feel, but I don't go act violent. It's just how I feel. I've called them all, done all the normal stuff I have to do, but it's old. Him keep harassing me through homeless people, whoever he hangs with. I don't hang with people. He opened my eyes to darkness I never knew existed. And because of that, I've learned a lot. The signs, the red flags, and all those normal things. And I did go to therapy for quite some time, but I'm going to be going back into it because the recent loss of my family member and then the situation with him and still having to deal with it, which I have no problem coming to court and doing what I'm supposed to do and obeying the law, doing the right thing because I have values and I have standards and I have, choices I make in life not to do it and be that way. Because to me, violence solves nothing. Okay. And I mean, he gets an attitude if he happens to hear I've been in the area, I don't care. To me personally, the Mr. Machismo attitude is ugly. I mean, I know there's good people in life and I'm going through some changes right now, and that's okay. But ma'am, as a survivor of domestic violence, there needs to be stronger restrictions on him. Because ma'am, to me personally, and the people I know and others have talked to me about situations with him, you know, I tell them, I can't do it for you. I only tell them, suggest what they can do. But to me personally, he's a threat to society as a whole and to all women. And I'm not trying to be mean or hateful, but this is all, come on, it's 5 years. You know, I'm 62 years old, you know, also too, being a victim of this and knowing about lying and all that, I am, after this is finished, planning to be, applying to relocate as I'm working on locating elsewhere. I'm gonna be in the city, but I don't tell people where I'm gonna be because I don't want nobody bothering me. I'm tired. You know, I need to rest, recoup, and restrain to myself with the situation. And I feel like this, ma'am, is that, you know, I respect law and everything goes through. I know life is not perfect and not everything's perfect, but it needs to be tougher sentences for him because I know he'll never cooperate. And I'm not saying to be cruel. I mean, ma'am, it's the God's honest truth. I'm tired. 4 years later and ongoing, you know, it's really upsetting to me and it hurts me because it's like it started all over again. And my young son just got back from overseas. He's in the Army, active duty. So I let him know I had to come to court today, and I told him I would let him know what happens. So, Your Honor, I do appreciate you allowing me to speak. And I think, and I just wish you the best in your decisions.
Thank you, Ms. Marquez. I commend you on the journey that you've been going through and the manner in which you've worked on a situation that I'm sure you were not, didn't ask for. It takes a lot of courage to deal with the things that you've done over the course of this proceeding and probably leading up to it. As I mentioned, you will be connecting, I will imagine, with both probation, and you have established the connection there with the DA's office. As I said before, I hear you. These are obviously very difficult decisions for the court in order to balance everything that is involved with situations like this, to include, of course, your very powerful experience. So I thank you for your time. And you are now, I guess, going to be dealing with other things moving forward, and we will deal with Mr. Rubalcaba as well.
Thank you. Excuse me. I thank you, ma'am, Your Honor. I do greatly appreciate you and me allowing me to be here today to speak on my behalf and other survivors and victims of domestic violence in the situation and all police involved. I pray every day, ma'am, because I know it's not easy. I have a lot of family that are still police officers. I just don't tell them because I don't want them hurt. But I do appreciate you, and I want you to know I thank you for allowing me to speak and be present in the situation. And I wish you the best.
Same to you, Ms. Marquez. Thank you. All righty, so we, I do recall the situation of Mr. Rubalcaba basically having not followed through with BHRTC. Ms. King, did you have any input? I don't know how much we fleshed out the option of returning to BHRTC. And I don't know if we have an update, Mr. Lozano, because I think Mr. Carmona was here last time.
Your Honor, from the previous notes on the hearings, I believe it was more, we're at the point where it's BHRTC again or time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was probated, or 2018, 7 years probation. I think it's at the point where we either do time or I'll defer to the court.
And so I'm clear, Ms. Pineda, the recommendation from probation was time, or was it to continue some type of modification of treatment? Or
the probation officer's recommendation was for him to be placed for BHRTC treatment again, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Lozano, do you have anything to add to any of this?
That's the only thing I don't think I need to remind any of the parties or the court that, you know, obviously my client does have some mental health issues and you know, substance abuse issues, and you know, obviously I would have to advocate that my client continue to receive services. And I think especially in light of what we heard.
So, there's a couple of things here that I'm just going to throw out there. First of all, I've got to think that as I would in any other case, kind of redoing the same thing that apparently didn't work last time is not something I'm really, especially in light of the concerns from Ms. Marquez of revisiting. On the flip side, I don't know if we look at a time wreck, ultimately where that gets us, other than he does some time and we come out and we still have a problem. Right. But
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
He was modified 3 times in 2020 and 2021 twice.
To what?
I believe there was an MTR filed in 2020. I believe he was modified into the HRTC. Carla, if you want to.
Carla, did you see like all the modifications, what they were for? So what did we do?
So there was a previous MTR judge filed back in 2019. It was due to a violation of protective order from January 2019. The MTR was dismissed. He did 90 days jail, ACOP. From there, he continued regular probation. I'm assuming issues continued because that's when in August 2020, the BHRTC modifications were submitted. He was placed in BHRTC October 2020 through March 2021. Upon being released from BHRTC, he was modified to the MHI caseload. Where he was receiving services already. He did have his caseworker. It's just, I guess the issue is, aside from him being at BHRTC, receiving treatment and EHN services, he continues with the drinking. There were still positive UAs. So that's what the issue is. I understand, that's what the probation officer recommended BHRTC judge, but I mean, if the court would suggest or has any other or a more intensive program, I don't know how the court feels about it, the state or Mr. Lozano at this point.
What type of more intensive program? What does that mean?
Well, just throwing it out there, Judge. I mean, looking at the picture that he did complete BHRTC, he has EHN services, and he continues with the alcohol use. I don't know if RSAT, which is more of a 6-month straight time there at the facility where it's BHRTC, but it's RSAT 6 months straight, or even SafeP. I don't know if we want to go that route. That's just, I know it still has to be screened and all that, but I mean, that is another thing we can look at.
Mr. Lozano, here's my problem, right? Is that completion of programs really means nothing to me if we're not solving problems, right? So on the one hand, what I can tell you right now is I am not back at BHRTC. It will have to be an, I guess, escalation of treatment, which I'm hesitant to do because if our first MTR where he got that 90-day jail commitment is basically right after he pleads, he's really never been, I guess, substantively compliant. So whereas, yes, he went through BHRTC and completed it, we give him the resources, which the MHI caseload, I think, are the resources to keep him on track, and it doesn't keep him on track. So how do we get him screened, Ms. Binetta?
I just sent his probation officer a message, Judge, to see if she can follow up with, to see if we can look into RSAT or, I mean, I know SafeP is really going beyond that escalation, but I mean, it's just a suggestion, I guess, because I'm seeing what you're seeing, Judge. Here is completed BHRTC and we're still with the same problem.
Is either RSAT or SafeP, is either one of them better suited to what may be the source of his issues, or are they about the same? Like, is one of them, I mean, clearly here, maybe we have the drinking, maybe the drug use, but also, I guess, the mental health assistance. For example, if this is true, basically that he's putting all these third parties, he's clever enough to say, hey, friends, keep harassing this woman. I don't know how we get him to understand you can't do that. The orders are in place, the conditions on his probation are in place. Is there anything in those programs that is likely to be more successful than anything that we've ever tried? No? Okay, that face tells me there.
I mean, Judge, my only thing, Safe P would help, but it is, to me, like we're kind of going to the last resort there, right? Before obviously TDC, right? But Safe P does have the special needs section as well, where because of his mental health issues and stuff, the special needs can assist in that. Where our SAT, it can be somewhat like BHRTC, it's just a little bit more, I think it adds a few more months versus what BHRTC is more.
Yeah, so I'm not looking for an incremental step at this point. So literally, I need to know this. Ms. King, do you have a recommendation on time?
Yes, Your Honor. I did communicate that to Mr. Lozano. It's going to be 2 TDC with play of true.
2 TDC. What's his prior history in terms, I think I'm safe to assume, although he may not have a drug history, but what's the violent history?
So he actually doesn't have much. He has a burglary of a building in 1992. He has a conviction. He does have, it was dismissed in AFE. There was a violation of protective order that was dismissed back in 2019, and I believe that's why the MTR was filed for this case.
Okay.
See.
Okay, so no other violent history?
No.
Okay. All right.
If I may, Judge, I'm not sure if you're seeing Ms. King, but there actually is a pre-plea report imaged in the case, and there is a history in California. I'm not sure if you're seeing that.
I just saw that actually, and I was going to mention it.
What are we talking about?
Trip.
Yeah, oh, he has a pen trip?
I'm showing a pen trip from California. Let me just make sure, Judge.
Went in for what?
We requested the pen trip, but I don't.
Is it from 2000? I see in 2000 there was corporal injuries on a spouse, willful cruelty to child, and I show disposition 3 years probation. And then there's other violation court orders to present domestic violence, DV, but they're unknown, Judge. So I there's no details on that.
So we have a history. So we're coming back on March 1st. I know it's taken a minute, but I think I'm very unlikely to be looking at any more treatment. If I am, Mr. Lozano, it's going to be Safe P. And Ms. King, I don't know if you need to go back. I know what I'm thinking in terms of time, knowing the criminal history now. So I don't know if you want to rethink something, but ultimately it'll be my decision.
Okay.
Mr. Lozano, I'm not at 2 years TDC, and we'll see on March 1st if we get him screened, Ms. Pineda, what, I'm not saying I'm at Safe P either.
Judge, if I may. Can you give me an idea of what you, in terms of time, what it would be? It allows me to have a more clear and precise conversation with my client.
Okay, so when he had a pen trip in California, how much time was that?
Your Honor, we never received the packet, so.
Offhand, Mr. Lozano, I'm at 4.
That helps me a lot, Judge.
Judge, I was going to offer 5 TDC actually, now that I remember the California pen trip.
Okay, so you see the range there, Mr. Lozano. Yeah.
I'll talk to my client, Your Honor.
We'll be back on the 1st. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Who's next, Chewy?
Hey, Judge Williams, on page 4.
Okay.
It's cause number 2018-0D06040, State of Texas versus Michael Williams. Announcement of council, please.
Laura King for the state of Texas.
And Rafael Morales on behalf of Mr. Williams, Judge.
And this one is set for a motion for early discharge. Bear with me that I am.
We were here a couple months ago, Judge.
Was this pending some information regarding work? Give me a second, Mr. Morales. Let me pull up the report. But you can go ahead and update me while I'm looking things up.
We had a family violence case, obviously out of your court a couple of years back. Mr. Williams has been doing well on probation. I believe he substantially completed all the terms and conditions of probation. The family law case is still ongoing. We're looking for a final hearing. We've exchanged some discovery. No problems there. Not that we're aware of. So we're just hoping that we can finally finish this up with Mr. Williams in terms of getting him off probation since he's done well, Judge.
Any input from probation or Ms. King if you've looked at it?
Your Honor, I did run a rap sheet this morning and there's no new offenses that was picked up.
Anybody hearing from complainants, anything like that? Probation or DA's office?
The
No, Your
DA's
Honor.
office, haven't heard anything.
Okay. The recommendation, if I'm not mistaken, from probation at the very least does not oppose, although correct me if I'm wrong, Carla, I think I just read it. I think they're good with it. I think I do remember Mr. Williams. He was one, I think he pled under me. So I'm good with the early discharge. So normally, I don't know if I get that from Mr. Morales or Ms. Pineda, the form, but if I don't already have it, please send it over immediately so I can sign off on it. Mr. Williams,
Absolutely.
good luck to you, sir.
Mr. Morales, will you send the early discharge?
Yes, we just got an order granting the early discharge. Nothing more specific than that. I know Ms. Pineda had, or the court had requirements in terms of what we put in it, but nothing more than that, Judge. Pretty
I'm good with
straightforward.
that. If you'll just send it, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Judge. Everyone have a good day.
You too. Take care. Who's next, Shui?
Okay, Judge Martinez on page 3.
Okay, go ahead.
It's cause number 2020-0D03915, State of Texas versus Veronica Marisol Martinez. Announcement of council, please.
Laura King for the state of Texas.
And that should be Miss Martin.
That's me. I'm having some issues with my phone. Let me see what's going on, but I'm here, ready to proceed.
Okay, so we're here for status hearing. She's in custody. Where are we on this one?
I filed a motion, Your Honor, to have her evaluated for competency.
Okay. Did we have that, Sandy? If so, we need to go ahead and transfer it.
No, ma'am, but I'll go ahead and prepare that transfer.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next, Tree?
We did. We still have a couple of remaining cases that need to go before you, but I'm waiting for, I believe it's going to be Mr. Avelar to show up.
Okay, sounds